Is everybody here? Alright. Who wants to do a quick recap? Sounds about right. So you guys are back in the main hallway with Yusdrayl. We are all level 3, that is correct. Well, it appears that you guys have done well, helping us clear out the Citadel and helping us slowly regain it. However, we still have the Goblin issue at hand. And as Yusdrayl kind of, makes that comment, she points to one of the elite kobolds to bring out the goblins that were in her little jail cell. And you see them kind of like get pulled out one by one, still tied up, unable to truly move about, with her guards kind of like pointing spears at their backs behind them. And as you guys kind of like see that motion, she goes, if you can assist us getting rid of these goblins once and for all and help us reclaim the Citadel, you'll be rewarded well. And again, she kind of like points at the table behind her, where you guys don't really see anything new per se, but there's the implication that there's other things that she'd be willing to give you guys. where do you guys stand at this point in simply helping us slay the goblins versus trying to negotiate this path out? I want them out of here. Well, you guys have definitely helped us in the sense of clearing out, you know, a troll, not to mention helping us regain our white dragon. I'd be more than willing to, you know, call upon my guard, call upon some of the warriors within, you know, my tribe to kind of rally up forces, since this goblin stronghold is definitely more than what I would presume just the three of you would be able to manage. The only thing I know of the magical apple seeds is that the goblins come through our passageways to sell them to the humans in the village down below. We personally don't mess with the apple seeds. The only ones I've ever personally seen are some white apples that are definitely poisonous to the touch and will just necrose anything, you know, anyone who bites into it or has any kind of major handling with it. Yep. One of the goblins that's kind of like pushed forward towards, you know, the group says, "I know nothing about apple seeds. That's the big boss's work that we don't deal with. We just go to the village." Sorry? You're gonna firebolt him? Alright. Go ahead and roll your firebolt. Okay, how do you plan on interposing? Okay, does an 18 hit you at this point? I don't recall your AC off the top of my head. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I see it. So you Loki, Loki, roll a dexterity save. That's alright. Take your time. Okay, you dodged a firebolt. You're good. Like I said, we don't deal with the apples themselves. The big boss goes to the village and sells them to the humans down below. We just do. Durin and Grant. Big boss Grant. Big boss Durin. Big boss Grant us. In the Goblin lair, of course. That depends how you come and go. And he kind of like looks over his shoulder towards the like back end of the like hallway towards this door here. I'm trying to ping it. Yep. I don't care about his freedom. I care about my citadel, and I only want them gone. And I doubt that this goblin can negotiate that kind of deal for you. Now, I can lead you through, but I don't know anything about civil conversation. As he kind of like looks at Yusdrayl and spits on the floor. Of course we have families, and of course we have people we care about, but I also have to think of the greater good, not just about myself. And you say nobody has to lose anything, but here they want us out of our citadel. This is our land. Okay, go ahead. Well, with your short bow, with disadvantage, seeing as you're standing right next to the dude, you miss him. I like the way you, so as you kind of say that, Yusdrayl kind of like speaks up. I like the way that sounds. I'm okay with you guys killing off the leader. You know, you cut the head of the snake off. You don't try to tangle with the snake and talk it into submission. And as you kind of go for it. With his hands kind of tied behind his back, he just kind of looks at you like, I don't know what you expect from me. I don't have no keys to no doors. You know, I'm a prisoner here. My belongings were taken long before you came in here speaking to me, so I can't unlock any doors for you that you imagine I would. Are you ready? Yeah, no, you boost yourself back up to 17. Between the troll fight and coming back, you all had taken a long rest, so. No, you did. You did. Then there was a. I'm gonna go with you. Between encounters. You guys have full rests. So that's my assumption on you that you guys assumed to make that decision as well. Looking at the door, go ahead and roll an investigation check. 15. You don't foresee any traps on the door, but you do notice that it's locked. Yeah, go for it. Do a sleight of hand. I wanna say it's sleight of hand. After much tinkering and twiddling, you hear a click, but you can't tell if the door is locked or unlocked yet. So when you try to like turn the door handle on it, you can tell it's still locked. Looking at the door, you see that the major component of the door is stone, and that you kicking it is not going to have much effect. As you kind of like shout that, Yusdrayl kind of like turns towards Mirai and goes, "You know, I have the key to the door. It's just we don't take that passage due to the fact that it's heavily trapped." Alright. You guys didn't ask. Did you want me to gather my troops? Okay, with you saying that, she kind of gives each of the elite kobolds a nod, and they draw their kind of like short swords and just stab them in the back, killing each of the goblins in hand. Sorry, gathering forces. So I won't leave my stronghold undefended, but I will carry a large group of individuals with us. And as you kind of look around, you see that there's at least like a dozen, kobolds that are ready to, tag along, including the elite kobold that fell into the dragon pit, or into the pit the first time. And actually, as you asked, I can send some of my kobolds through, but like I said, this place is trapped, so you guys have to be careful with the way you carry yourself through these doors. I only have the key to this door. There is a door, past this passage, kind of like as the door gets pushed. So Yusdrayl will like walk up and like push the door open, and as she like pushes the door open, at the other end of the 20-foot long corridor is another closed door that you can pertain, that you see. And Yusdrayl say like, watch the floors. So do an investigation check. You hurriedly look, at the floor, but you don't pertain to see any traps immediately. Why don't you do a passive? Do a perception check. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, definitely. If you want to go ahead and take a look through the door, you'll notice that in the center of the hallway there, as you kind of like look at it, you see that there seems to be like a catwalk where people have been like walking along the side of the walls rather than straight through the center of the hallway. Like dust, any dust that would be, on the floor is heavily laden in the middle, but like as you take a look at the like sides of the walls, you see that there's been like footmarks and like foot traffic along that way. And taking a close step into the room, along the wall, one of the kobolds kind of follows suit along the other side. As to kind of like pile into the room. I mean, if you want to just go ahead and give it a jiggle, by all means. as you try to jiggle the door handle, you notice that you can't seem to move it. It appears to be locked. Sure, you're welcome to try. And apparently your experience with the previous lock that failed you previously, you can definitely notice that there's a pattern to these locks, and you're able to maneuver your lockpick very efficiently. And you hear another click. Loki? And as you kind of like turn the handle on the key, you know, or as you turn the doorknob, the door falls in, opening the chamber. And as you guys kind of see that, the few kobolds that kind of like piled into the room with you guys kind of hurry up into the room, kind of like without any kind of cautious event whatsoever, while Yusdrayl kind of like walks along the sides of the walls. Again, as you kind of like rattle the door, you perceive that it's definitely locked, not something that you're able to just simply open up. Sure. And as you're using your thieves tools, you definitely notice that you've gotten the hang of the previous few locks now. Without any kind of difficulty whatsoever, you're able to unlock this even quicker than the previous one. As you open the door, the stench, garbage, and carrion here are evidence of years of use by unsanitary tenants. Tattered hides stretched on frames form 6 unstable hammocks around a much-used fire pit. Battered cooking equipment is mixed indiscriminately with broken and worn arms and armor. As you open the door, you notice that there are 3 goblinoids who kind of look at you in surprise. So you're going to roll for initiative? Okay. Go ahead and roll for initiative. Go ahead and do you speak Goblin? Or just common? One of the goblins who understands enough of what you tried to say kind of bolts out the door on the opposite end of the room. But the other two are kind of like still half shocked, half surprised that you know there's two humans and a series of kobolds kind of like in their face. Roll another persuasion check. The two definitely take the hint and bolt out of the room as fast as they can. They're gonna max their double run speed and kind of bail out before you can even like tell where they ran off to. All right. What are you trying to roll? Right. In preparation for what? I'm sorry, I missed that. Gotcha. Sounds good. And kind of as you guys start piling into the room. Some of the smaller kobolds kind of like push past you guys and just like start running into the room looking for any kind of like loot or anything of use. Right. And as you guys kind of like step into the hallway, again you hear kind of like the clatter or noise of, definitely like ongoings of, what's been going on within the door next door. Even though you've never been there, you hear that there's, like chatter and noise coming through this door. I don't know why it's not letting me like ping nicely. There we go. Correct. Just looking at it? Not just by looking at it, you'd have to actually take a look at the door. You like assess the door. You're gonna try and open the door? So as you try to like push the door open, you notice that the door is locked from the other side. That even though the handle is able to move freely, something's been placed behind the door that won't allow you to like simply swing it inward. And it's not a door that you can pull outward towards you to open up. So previously, a couple turns ago, when you released those other goblins, one of the goblins ran through that door, telling you guys to go away, and that door was locked behind them, or you heard that it was barricaded behind them, so that you couldn't follow. And as you try and open that door, it swings out without any issue, revealing a hallway. Walking up to it right there to look around, you notice that you can kind of peek into a... Oops. You can kind of peek into two hallways, one towards your left, one towards your right. The one towards your right seems to go back towards another passageway that you know there is a door, but you just haven't walked past there yet. And looking around, you can kind of tell that there's a passageway that leads down the hallway, bless you, leading you to what could potentially be two doors, but you can't fully be sure yet because you haven't walked down the hallway. But you do see one door at the end. Um, as you kind of like turn the door handle, you notice that the door is definitely locked. You can't just simply open it. And as you kind of like, sorry, say it again. I think you were trying to say something. So as you try to like turn the door handle, you hear kind of like scampering through the door. You know, like you hear definitely like footfalls and like voices like saying like shh, 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 as if they're like preparing something, like as if others are preparing something. It's locked. I mean, you're welcome to try and kick the door. You do a strength check. Kicking at the door, you know, in a half foolish attempt, you kick and kick at this door, but there's no strength put behind it. You're kind of like meekly kicking a door that, you know, doesn't do anything. And as you put your thieves' tools into this lock, you notice that as you're pushing this, you know, your lockpick into the lock itself, you feel that there's a small spring inside the lock, and it springs at you, and a small needle hits your hand. Taking 4 poison damage. Alright, go ahead and roll a sleight of hand. As you kind of move the poison needle aside and you try to unlock the door, you hear a click. And as you try to open the door is still locked. Whatever.
Sorry.
Hold on a second. What? 1 second. What?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Sorry, I'm back. Looking at the door and trying to open the door handle, you notice that it's also locked. You're trying to melt the lock? Alright. Go for it. So instead of trying to firebolt the lockpick itself, or the lock, you kind of just like blast the door open, pushing it. You know, your magic kind of went a little wild in that aspect and just push the door open, kind of revealing the entryway into a large chamber. Give me 1 second. So when you kind of blast the door open, what might once have been a cathedral is now a goblin lair, thick with filth of years of goblin life. Scores of wall and floor-mounted scones, filled with glowing fungi, provide illumination. Dozens of goblins go about their daily business, which involves a lot of rudeness and violence. Along the southern wall is a heaping pile of assorted items, including wagon wheels, broken armor, and rusted arms, chests, small statues, antiques, furniture, and artwork. And like the more you like look into the room, the more the room starts to like reveal itself to you, revealing many goblinoids. And kind of like as you guys step through, the goblins all seem to like scramble away, running from all of you towards several doors. Go ahead and roll an intimidation check. You definitely intimidate all of them. The goblins that are nearest to the doors kind of like push away whatever was holding doors in place. Others simply scamper away through little bury holes and doorways. And kind of as the northern goblins kind of like push through a door, they like slam it shut behind themselves again. Kind of as you guys like run and like get into the room, you see the few goblins kind of like running away down the hall. As Yusdrayl trying to like kind of like walks into this like chamber, she like looks about and says, "This definitely used to be the church of the old dragon priests here." She kind of like looks around, seeing still some of the remnants along the walls of what would have been a cathedral hall. They were kind of behind you guys, so they weren't aware of the goblins kind of like running down the hallway again, so they're not chasing them down per se. It's more that you guys noticed the majority of the scramble. And as you say that, a couple of the elite kobolds and some of the warrior kobolds kind of like make chase. Seeing as the door is not locked whatsoever, you manage to go ahead and do a strength check. You feel some resistance, let me put it that way. Feeling some resistance, against the door, you are able to kind of push the door open. And as you push that door open, one of the goblinoids kind of like falls back and then like hits his ass. Go ahead and roll initiative. Yep. I did. That's funny. Yep. Mirai, did you roll yours? Alright. And the goblins have an 8. So, Loki, you seem to be in the driver's seat here. Okay. How are you casting Magic Missile? How are you casting Magic Missile? Okay. I gotcha. You just... Okay. I see what happened. Okay, sounds good. What's your spellcasting ability? So go ahead and roll an intelligence check. For your magic missile. Okay, now roll your damage for magic missile. Oh, okay. Which two goblins did you target? Got it. Okay, I thought so. Alright. Throwing your magical missiles, you hit the first three goblinoids that are right in front of you, leaving two severely wounded and bleeding, screaming out and like tons of pain, while the other kind of just like looks at his wound and goes, looks hurt, but looks more annoyed than, hurt. Mirai, I think you're Mirai. You rolled a 12. Yeah, it's like a rotten couch. Okay. Sinclair, you did cast that one spell beforehand, so just kind of tossing you that reminder there. The one that lets you replace two rolls with the two rolls that you have. Oh, okay, I got you. Ah, okay. Whenever. I got you. It is your turn. Alright, sitting on the couch, Loki kind of like busted open the door, tossing a couple magic missiles, hurting some, and then kind of like sidestepped back past the door. Alright. Tossing in a firebolt along the way, is there, there's no AoE to that, correct? It's not like, okay. Tossing your firebolt, go ahead and set your damage roll. Tossing that firebolt, smacking the kobold or the goblin commoner that's already on his ass, hurt, killing him with the firebolt. Go ahead and roll a d20. Alright, go ahead and roll a d20. You're in luck. As you hit their little recliner button, the bottom piece does come out, and your feet kind of like swing forward, and your back is thrown, in a reclined position. The few goblins that went ahead and have an idea, like, hey, you guys are about to fight, kind of like charge screaming from the top of their lungs into the hallways, trying to like fight their way like past Loki and past the first Kobold, just to kind of like push their way through. Loki, go ahead and give me a strength check. He So the first, go ahead and roll an opportunity attack. Loki? Yeah. Whichever you prefer. 15 definitely hits, so roll for damage with your short sword. I know. The first that kind of like ran past you, had the misfortunate chance of running past you with his neck kind of stuck out just the wrong way, and you kind of like lobbed his little head off, killing him as he tried to like run past you screaming. The other two, however, did manage to kind of like push their way past you into the room, and as they kind of like have their like swords out and drawn, you hear like the clashing of swords between some of the kobolds versus some of the goblins right now, kind of like duking it out. And as they're kind of like fighting and not really scoring any hits, or if they do score any hits on one another, it's not enough to like kill one another, just doing like minor wounds. That the door kind of to the north bursts open, and several goblins kind of pile out. The ones that kind of like came in to begin with come right back out. So I'm going to let you take your turn again, Loki. There's two that are still alive. Well, technically there's a bunch that's alive now, so I'm not sure who you're pointing at. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, he's definitely alive and well. The one this one's dead. Go ahead and roll your short bow. 18 is definitely a hit. Go ahead and roll the wound. Shooting the goblin in the back, he's severely bleeding and hurt, but still alive. It's Mirai's turn. Go ahead and roll for shocking grasp. Touching the goblin, you know, the sensation of the shock hits the goblinoid, shocking him, but it doesn't seem to affect him as much as it has in the past. No damage. Go ahead, Sinclair. Does it not have to go through an armor save? Does shocking grasp has to go through an armor save or no? Right, and that doesn't hit. Oh, okay, just making sure. So it is Sinclair's turn. Yes, sir. Go for it. An 18 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll for damage. 6. Bursting him into flame and... I'm gonna go with you're attacking this one. Well, maybe. The dude I'm moving. Only because this one's dead already. I'm gonna delete the ones that die. Killing this one as well. Gotcha. Okay. As the goblins kind of like spread out and push some of these goblins back to kind of like fight them hand to hand, the door kind of reopens back out, and more goblins kind of like pile out, including one larger goblinoid that seems to be barking orders at the smaller ones. So it is once again Loki's turn. Go ahead and roll for damage. You definitely hit him, and you definitely kill the commoner. Looking at its compatriot back there, it seems to be a rather older looking goblinoid, kind of quivering in fear of your presence. with you standing next to the standing goblinoid, as you kind of like made your shot with your bow, he does take a swing at you. Does an 11 hit you? Loki? No. Alright. It is Mirai's turn. It is Mirai's turn. Yeah, and he's kind of like barking orders. No, I'm not the leader. As he kind of like looks around to kind of like assess the situation there, and kind of like takes a more serious look at Yusdrayl, readying his short bow. Kind of the Kobold's killer reaction to that is kind of like to block that path. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check. Hearing your words between the clashing of swords and spears and pretty much all the mayhem of the battle and screaming of the commoners, your words kind of fall on deaf ears, so to say. It doesn't appear that he has any interest in kind of like partaking in that level of conversation, and you do kind of see him like turn towards the door and kind of like shout some things into the hall. Do you speak Goblinoid? No. Just Loki does, right? Thank you. Alright. Let me see if I can whisper Loki. Hey, welcome. The hobgoblin said that to like over his shoulder into the like room that all these goblins kind of like burst out of. As the fight kind of like continues on, you notice that your troops seem to be somewhat getting overpowered. The goblins definitely are fighting for their like lives and livelihood, kind of pushing the kobolds backwards. Though you can definitely tell that like these goblins are just as wounded as your compatriots. a goblin does make an appearance. He seems to be holding kind of like largish staff. And speaking Goblinoid to his compatriots, you can kind of just sense the venomosity between this Goblinoid and Yusdrayl as kind of like shouts out in Goblinoid. Whisper Loki. I guess Loki's not gonna make a reaction or let you guys know. Yeah, I can hear you. You may have muted yourself there, since I definitely did not hear what you had to say. Kind of like as Reynolds says to take cover, he shouts out poison coming through, and he kind of like points his hands towards Yusdrayl, and this poisonous, like as he extends like his hands, Yusdrayl and pretty much everyone in this little circle here get inflamed or not so much inflamed, but engulfed in this noxious gas coming out of the palms of his hands. Go ahead and roll a Constitution save. Okay. Even though being closest to the palms of his hands, the first kobold kind of like gets the gist of, hey, something's going on, and holds his breath. Everyone else take 10 poison damage, killing 2 of the elite kobolds. It includes Mirai. Mirai made the con save. I believe it is between Mirai and Sinclair's turn at this point. Pretty much it was like just passing between the like the 3x3 square that you guys were standing in. Yeah. Move over. Oh, back. Oh, okay. Do you need a roll for that? Alright. Well, you definitely slam him into the back of the wall. See if the poisonous cloud moves back there. Pushing that cloud kind of like back towards them. I'm gonna make them all do a con save too. Roll 1d20. Dead. 1. So the not. So a lot of those goblins, as well as one of the kobolds, definitely died. Having that noxious fumes kind of like pushed back towards them. There are, however, still goblins in the room, and as you can kind of like tell, the room's kind of like split in half between goblins on one side still and the kobolds on the other. Alright, go ahead and cast. Alright, it definitely, you're hitting Grenell, right? No, the hobgoblin. 1 second. I have to double check to make sure that hits. It actually does not. Why would it be the 23? It's the 17. Alex joined like a while ago, but I'm not sure what character you play in game. Do you see your character in your in the character list? And I can toss you in. It's in the journal area. Loki, it is your turn. Alright. Go for it. You definitely hit. Roll for damage. Making swift work of these goblins. You are lobbing heads left and right, killing these goblinoids with ease. Okay. Mirai, it is your turn. Sure. Not enough. So these two are kind of like knocked on the floor. Oh, okay. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on takes 3d thunder damage on a failed save. So it's a 10 by 10, so it would only affect 2. So you might want to, just so you know, right, right. That. Oh, sorry, I misread that. My bad. I read radius, but it went in one ear and out the other. So my bad. So it's a spell save of 13. Let's see. Roll 1d20. This is for the hobgoblin. Epic fail. Goblin right next to him failed. The one with 6 HP failed, and pretty much all of them failed. So go ahead and 20 damage each, or 20 damage spread out. So killing pretty much all of them instantaneously. And I guess. Kind of like here. Go ahead, Sinclair. You see still 2 goblinoids pinned against the wall. Will that? So if you walk up there, will that affect you in the case of the spell of the wind gust blasting in that direction as well? That's pretty much what happened the first time around, so yeah, by all means. Yeah. Yep. Grenell takes his con save. Failed. The other goblinoid that passed the first time passes again. Go ahead and roll for damage. Boom. The poisonous cloud that's pushed into Grenell's face knocks them out entirely. Not killing them, however. You notice that they're still breathing, but they're passed out against a wall of gust. The one goblinoid that's kind of pinned against the wall, I'm gonna have him do a strength check to see if he can get just kind of like walk, kind of like towards Loki and towards the kobolds. What's this? See, it is a 13. Okay, that's what I thought. So he manages to kind of like crawl on his hands and knees, kind of like slowly towards the kobolds. Not near enough to, I guess, like grant an opportunistic attack, but slowly at least like crawling out of the way. Meanwhile, to the north of the hallway, you kind of like hear shouting of like, how is this still like going on? And like you see this like one larger hobgoblin kind of like pushes two smaller hobgoblins kind of forward through the door, so that they kind of like not so much make a wall, but kind of like keep them kind of covered. The two hobgoblins that are kind of like closest to you guys are carrying right now their bows, whereas the hobgoblin in the back is kind of carrying this like almost comical large sword, larger than a normal large sword should look like, though he seems to be able to like hold it without any issue. So it is Loki's turn. Are you speaking, Loki? Because if you are, you muted yourself again. Alright, go ahead and roll the hit. And I'll let you roll with advantage on this, only because he's crawling on the floor. And crit with a 20. Go ahead and... lobbing another head off, another goblin's head. So it is Mirai's turn. Deal. Since when do hobgoblins make deal with kobold minions? The main guy and the one next to him. Got it. Okay. Did you find your character, Alex? Alright, well there's like a large list of characters already created. If you want to see one that like picks your fancy, let me know. Uh, I the back one is definitely visibly larger, and okay, so he would have been the 18, kind of pushing him back against the wall back here, and the other one against the wall here. Go ahead and roll your damage. 17. He is not wearing metal armor. It does not. Alright. Go ahead, Sinclair. He's knocked out. He's a non-combatant at this point. He's got 0 HP. He's knocked against the wall, but just breathing. Alright. Alright. Yeah, I can do that. No? Maybe? There you go. Alright. The hobgoblin that's still in. So the hobgoblin that's still in the room, he's gonna make a strength check to see if he can like get past this gust of wind. Failing. The guy who flew kind of back out of the room, making his not making his check either. The one hobgoblin here, however, that you guys have tried to attack, he kind of pulls out his bow and points it at Yusdrayl. Oh, 20. 11. Does that hit you? No, it does not. Missing. Whiffing his shot. It is, I believe, Loki's turn. Go ahead. Roll to hit. You miss. You fire a bolt. the wind that's already gusting into that area kind of, I guess, misjudged you, gave you the misjudgment of being accurate, whiffing your shot. It is... Okay. It is Mirai's turn. Okay. Yeah. Are you talking about Grenell, who's knocked out, or like another one? Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Although, does that heal entirely, or does that leave them wounded but revived? Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Sinclair's. Are you muted? Yeah. Actually, incorrect, sorry. The gust of wind was here and here, so it never actually affected him, sorry. So you're simply moving the spell over to hit the other two? Gotcha. So the first one at the front fails, taking 7. Yeah, those saves are just not coming through at the moment. So with that being said, the hobgoblin that isn't being pinned down by the gust of air, he decides to just simply drop his like longbow, drawing out his longsword, and starts swinging towards Sinclair. rolling a 6. So, whiffing that, and I'm gonna take one more action. Roll d20. Oh boy. So, the goblin tried to pull Yusdrayl through the door. However, Yusdrayl was stronger and was able to keep the goblin from pulling her through the door. It is Loki's turn. Alright, go ahead and roll to hit. You're trying to attack with your dagger and your short sword? Or, yeah, seeing as you're trying to use 2 different weapons. So I'm going to use a disadvantage roll with your second weapon. Miss and miss. So I'm trying to slash at the hobgoblin. You are unable to hit him. Go ahead, Mirai. Are you pulling her out of the way? Does that mean you would lose concentration on your spell? Gotcha. Okay, just being sure.
You're not eating, right?
Not yet. No. Yep. Okay. Sinclair. Yep. Alright. It's a con save, right? Roll damage. Taking 7 damage. Alright. The first Goblin manages to climb out of his way. The back one, however, is still stuck. Unable to get out of that. The Goblin that just got poisoned is gonna roll to attack Loki with a longsword. Rolling a 5, not doing anything. However, the goblins do jump through that door to kind of like, yep, go for it. Definitely hits. Roll for damage. Killing him immediately. Go ahead and roll intimidation. Intimidating enough to make them back off. Nope. Go ahead, Loki. You are muted, most likely. Loki. Loki. I'm going to assume he's going to use a short sword or something. So... you muted yourself once again. And just go ahead and do your attack roll. Persuading enough to make him kind of back through the door and bolt on out. Technically, he can, seeing as he's walking, he's like running past him. If he wants to do that, he can. I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds to hit that button, though. Otherwise, oh, you want to do it? You hit him, but you know you kind of just like tap him on the like back without causing any damage. It's not enough to hurt him. Not anymore. Go ahead, Mirai, it's your turn. Bless you. Yeah, he crawled out. He did a save. Alright, go ahead. Yeah, you're back. We hear you. That does not hit. Does not hit. He's crawling on. He's not prone as in like laying on his back. He's like crawling on his like legs to like arms and legs to go ahead and get out of that tunnel. So he was like on the floor, but. Alright. Go ahead and Sinclair. Go for it. We are coming up on a 10-minute timer, just so you guys know. So go ahead and roll. 14 does not hit. The wind gust kind of gusts it towards the other one. Go ahead and roll again to see if you hit the other one. Does not hit also. So the gust of wind kind of did not do it for you this time around. It's only holding the one in place. Let me see if the guy who's stuck gets out. 13. What's the spell save on that? 15? Oh, he passes. Crawling pretty much his max move speed, kind of like away from the door. The goblin that's still in the room with you guys is at the point where he is debating his options as well. If he walks back into this tunnel, will he get hit with it again? Okay. Then he's not going to do that. Just to double check that. Kind of seeing that there's not many options for him personally. He drops his sword and kind of like is offering a type of surrender at this point. You telling the hobgoblin to come up to you to get tied up? Alright, he does that. Yusdrayl kind of like backs up towards the Sinclairs, while the Kobold's kind of like go ahead and roll a persuasion check. Okay, I was gonna give it with advantage because they were already intimidated prior, but yeah, go ahead and tie them up. So they'll let the kobolds kind of tie them up. The kobold, I guess, who's been like helping stabilize the other one, goes over. Fair enough. Yes, I do. Who? Dern? What do you need to know about him? Dern does as he pleases. He is our leader. I have no choice in what he makes and does. Yeah, he's gone. He went back through that door. Well, he's the strongest out of all of us. Well, he's much stronger than all of us. No special items that I know of. Just the apple seeds that he has us, fetch through. Well, the druid downstairs, he hands them off to us every solstice, whether summer or winter, to sell to the villagers down, in town. The druid that gives us the apples downstairs. Knocking the door in. 1 second. Reveal. Nope, that's not reveal. Oop. Close my book. Sorry. 1 second. As you open the door, a circular shaft pierces the floor of this 40-foot diameter domed chamber. Dim violet light shines out of the shaft, revealing sickly white and gray vines that coat the walls of the shaft. The light is supplemented by 4 lit wall torches, set equidistant around the periphery of the chamber. A crude-fashioned stone throne sits against the curve of the northwestern wall. A large iron chest serves as the throne's footstool. A sapling grows in a wide stone pot next to the throne. There is a giant pit in the center, and the vines are kind of like coming out of that pit. So okay. Do you want to take a look at that chest? Go ahead and roll an investigation check. Well, looking at the chest, you notice that it's definitely locked, but the lock to it does not seem too intricate. Go ahead and use a strength check. Bursting the lock, you hear a trigger, and a small pin kind of like shoots out of the lock itself, harmlessly against the wall, seeing as there's no one else in that room. Seeing as you're not standing right in front of the chest. Kicking the lid open, You notice that there is, well, the chest is filled pretty much, from what you can tell, full of gold coins. If you want to take the time to count it, it's 231 gold pieces. You also notice that there's two small little statuettes inside with some onyx gemstones. I don't see you at the moment. You're walking up to which goblin? Oh, um, kind of like a quavering voice. He says, "No hurt, no hurt. I no hurt no one." What do you want? I no slave. Go ahead and, I guess, roll to attack. Roll for damage. You killed the elderly old goblin. All right. Like I said, there's 231 gold pieces in total, as well as two small statues with like onyx gemstones within it. They're worth about 30. Oh, okay. So just the 231 gold done. Like he split it in half, and I guess the 115 goes to you, Sinclair. No, no. I guess. I was gonna say, I guess Mora gets no gold for this. He's like, I guess it's a. Yeah, but instead of splitting it three ways, I guess Loki's just doing it the greedy route and splits it. Well, you guys should, but I'll leave that up to you. And as you guys kind of sit, and as you guys can like say that, the hobgoblin kind of like sneers beneath himself. Yep, just like the Who Creels. Which is they're the family they're the family you guys were supposed to rescue. Or at least, well, they just went into that pit. Hasn't been a week. The druid asked for them to come, and we took the ranger and the Hukruels down there. Though one of the Hukruels didn't make it. Pissing off Dern seems to do that. Oh, he's dead alright. Dern, my leader. You kind of like shift back into one as you're saying this. The golems seem agreeable, though without much choice, they kind of like scamper off. Does that include me as well? Asked the hobgoblin. Yusdrayl? The hobgoblin? No, I already have a master. But if you're asking us to leave the Citadel, I'll take Grenell and leave. As he kind of like motions towards the golem that's knocked out on the floor. So that means you're gonna cut my shackles loose so I can pick up Grenell? And cutting him loose, he like walks up to Grenell, lifts him over the shoulder, and they both kind of like walk back out, leaving the Citadel. Alright. And you've definitely cleared out these goblinoids in all sense of the word that I can think of, so you've definitely held your end of the bargain. They shouldn't be bothering us no more. And even though we may have sustained some losses ourselves, the Citadel's ours again. And she kind of like motions to the like knocked out Kobold and the other Kobold to like kind of carry him back towards their chambers, while kind of like pointing at the junk that's all over the floor here in the like bottom portion of the I guess the room, to have the other three kobolds kind of like go through it and see what they can like salvage. Kind of like bossing them around to like pick up stuff. Oh, we will most definitely be moving our majority of our camp over here once this gets cleaned up and you know, resituated. We'll start having more, you know, kobolds come this way. Now that all the we, you know, need to clear out some more traps, but I think once we get everything back in motion, we'll start moving things up towards this area. We are still concerned though that, you know, there could be attacks coming through this centered portion as she kind of like points to the door, where the hobgoblin definitely like escaped through. So before we can you know, reinstate this area as our own, we'll, you know, have to make sure that we set some guards out. So if you want to come back to the main area for the time being, that's fine. Otherwise, we can meet you back here once I have some reinforcements come our way. Okay. All right. All right. In that case, we are gonna take our break here, and next time, we'll be transitioning, I guess, to a new location, to the downstairs of the Citadel. So we'll have that to look forward to. Yeah, but you'd left your rope behind, so you actually don't have rope. Didn't you not pick it up because Loki didn't put it back up because of what happened in the room over here? In the very sun, like. Oh yeah, you did have it. You did have it. That's right. That's right. My bad. All right. You guys did reach the 4th level milestone. Yes, you did. So, all right. So, uh, I will let you guys go ahead and do all the leveling up and all that. I am gonna call here though, so I'm gonna log on off. All right, boys, and I'll see you guys all next week. Have a good night. Bye.